This is a video about my conclusion regarding the DT1770 Pro. It's been approximately a month since I've had these, and I've sold them. Someone has actually purchased these headphones from me, and I'm very excited about packaging these headphones and sending them off tomorrow, and hopefully never having to deal with these headphones ever again. I don't think it was a mystery to anybody who's been watching my reviews about the 1770s, and I've done a lot of videos on them. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone to be faced with my ultimate conclusion, which is these headphones suck. They are awful. The marketing material on these headphones is extremely misleading. It's misleading because it tells you what Beyerdynamic intended to do with the headphones, and it doesn't tell you what the headphones actually do. That's a huge concern. But before we get there, I want to tell you that I did in fact have a unique experience with the 1770s, and in fact a pleasurable experience with the 1770s. It was so pleasurable that I was actually surprised. I thought that my ears had somehow changed over the 24 hours. When I last listened to the 1770s and when I next listened to the 1770s, when they sounded amazing. I mean, when I say amazing, I mean amazing for Beyerdynamic headphones. Hold on, give me a second. I'm going to drink some coffee. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. What was that experience? Well, I was testing this. The Woo Audio WA8 Eclipse. WA meaning Woo Audio 8 Eclipse. It's a terrible name, but this is a phenomenal little, but when I say little, I mean robust and big and heavy and incredibly powerful portable tube amplifier. And by portable, I mean not portable, not portable, but it works off a battery. It's a really strange device, and I was testing it, and I plugged this thing into my computer, and I was listening to songs, and I plugged in the 1770 into this tube amplifier, and all of a sudden the sound changed. It was warm and inviting, and the higher peaks were suppressed just enough, even more, and it was an enjoyable experience. Nothing unique to the 1770s. That is, I could plug any other headphones, and I did plug other headphones into this portable amp, and I got a similar listening experience. That's just the signature of this particular amp. But to hear the daggers and the irritating sound from the 1770s, and then to switch to this portable tube amplifier and to hear a very different sound, that was surprising, first off. But second of all, it showed me the potential of the 1770s. The problem is that this costs $1,800. I'm not gonna buy an $1,800 amplifier for a pair of headphones that is marked at $600 and is worth no more than $300 brand new. That doesn't work. So as I was testing out the WA8 Eclipse, I had an idea. I thought, well, maybe these headphones need to be tubed. Perhaps it's the tubing that will help. Okay, so then I plugged into all my other tube amplifiers. I have a hand-built tube amplifier from the Ukraine. It's called Tor Audio, Tor Audio. They are present on Etsy. If you don't feel comfortable ordering from their website directly, I ordered it on Etsy. This is the Tor Audio David Tube DAC. Now, here's one thing. They actually name their product. They give it a name. Hey, this is the David. Easy to remember. This tube amplifier has unique capabilities. It uses genuine Russian, Ukrainian tubes. And by the way, if you hear that, that's Charlie on the couch just tossing and turning because he knows it's 5 o'clock and I'm waking him up. This tube amplifier does phenomenal things with headphones. It adds a uniqueness and a warmth and kind of a robustness to the sound to any headphone I've plugged into it. So I tried the 1770s on this. And you know what happened? It didn't help. Okay, it didn't help. You know, one tube amplifier may work, another tube amplifier may not work. That's understandable. It's the tube, stupid. And I'm calling myself stupid, not you. So I moved on to another one. Which other one should I try? Well, how about this? How about the Wu Audio WA7 Fireflies? Have you heard of this tube amplifier? It's a great tube amplifier. It is phenomenal. It adds such smoothness and richness to the sound. You actually have to listen to it to understand what I mean. This thing costs, no, don't be mistaken, it's not $1,000 for the tube amplifier. It's $1,000 for the amplifier and an additional $500 or $700 for the separate tube power supply. You don't need to buy the power supply, but in order to get the most out of it, it comes out to about $1,700, $1,800, which seems to be Wu Audio's price point for everything. Anyway, I tried it with this, and it didn't really help. I mean, it added some smoothness, but it sounded so hollow and unnatural. It didn't help with the headphones. Well, then I tried it with another tube amp. I tried it with the Quad PA1, one of my favorite tube amplifiers. The PA1 is an amazing amplifier, built robustly, and it's metal, and it's gorgeous, and it sounds fantastic. And I didn't spend anywhere close to this price. I got a bargain. Brand new. In any event, this tube amplifier is one of my favorite. All my amplifiers are my favorite, but this is one of my more favorites because it adds it doesn't add a visceral sound, but it adds a unique sound. It's so hard to explain, and I should probably just do a review about it. But anyway, this tube amplifier has a different sound signature than the Fireflies at Wu Audio. It has a different sound signature than the portable tube amplifier from Wu Audio. It has a different sound signature than the Tor Audio from the Ukraine. And this still couldn't help the 1770s. At some point, I have to understand what is wrong with these headphones. I have tried it with various devices. I've tried it with portables. I've tried it with desktop amplifiers, solid state, and tube. Why is this happening? You know what I've done so far? What I've done now? Currently, as I'm speaking to you, as I'm recording this, I have the headphones plugged into the Odyssey Deckard. It's a solid state tube. It's a solid state amplifier that is not built anymore. You can find it on eBay. It goes for anywhere between $600 and $700 if you're willing to pay that much. I wasn't. And this is a unique headphone. It does a couple of things. First, it has a built-in DAC, and it adds a slight bit of warmth to the sound. Not a whole lot, but just enough. And it has 3 gain settings: high, low, medium. I've had this headphone plugged in at low gain, and it's at low volume, and I can listen to these headphones now. This is apparently the best combination. A DAC amp that it was designed specifically for Odyssey headphones, is not built anymore, is only found used on eBay. This, at low gain, apparently, is the right amp for the 1770. Nobody's going to do that. I would never encourage anybody to do that. It is astounding to me to learn over the course of the last 4 weeks that the 1770s require a specific amplifier, a specific type of amplifier to become enjoyable. But more than that the 1770s absolutely require a pad change. 100%. You need to have a pad change. I showed you a video, I uploaded a video of the pad change. I'm listening to it with the Dakoni Elite Velour DT series pads. The comfort is leagues ahead of the standard pads that come with the headphones. The sound is more airy because there's more room now for my ears because there's thicker padding. It's a little bit more separated from my head, obviously because of the padding. The padding material itself is substantially softer than what Beyerdynamic included in their wafer-thin pads. And it just adds overall to the comfort of the headphones. And if you're comfortable with a pair of headphones on your head, then you will enjoy the headphones that much more. The comfort is not going to be the issue anymore. You're not going to be irritated by the mere fact that the headphones are on your head. And I'm not irritated that the headphones are on my head anymore. But you absolutely need to do that. Whether you use velour or leather or sheepskin or, which is leather, it doesn't matter. You just need to have a pad change for a $600 pair of headphones. For a pair of headphones that Beyerdynamic says, and I will show you, is comfortable. Well, enough of this ranting about amps and DACs and the right one, because you're never going to find the right one, apparently, other than, the Deckard. Maybe, because that was just my experience. Here's the marketing nonsense. The evolution of a studio legend. It's not a legend. This is not a legend. The 1770 Pro is not a legend, no matter how much you may want to use that word. These benchmark-setting, closed-back studio headphones combine decades of expertise in headphone production with the latest Tesla driver technology. Okay, great. Benchmark setting. You set the benchmark, friend, for your own company. In addition to their high-resolution and well-balanced sound, the Beyerdynamic DT1770 Pro headphones set new standards, not least in the terms of comfort and workmanship. I think that's a typo. I think it should have said, the 1770 Pro headphones set new standards, the least in terms of comfort. The least in terms of comfort. No, Beyerdynamic, your headphones are not comfortable out of the box. That is not true. That is a lie. As far as workmanship, yeah, I think these are really robust headphones. No doubt about it. Never said anything otherwise. Tesla technology, blah, 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 blah. Distortion-free sound to be achieved even at high output levels. A three-layer compound membrane is used to suppress break-up vibrations. Carefully selected acoustic fabric ensures distortion-free sound reproduction. The problem with that? There are some songs that require not distortion, but reverberation. There are some instruments that naturally reverberate and should naturally reverberate inside the ear cups. If you have a membrane that is far too thick, that is far too tight, you're not going to get that reproduction, and so it's not natural to listen to. Does that make sense? When there's a membrane inside of one of these drivers, it's stretched, whether it's a planar magnetic or it's a dynamic or it's, Tesla, which is dynamic, as far as I understand it, there's a membrane, a thin membrane of whatever material they choose. And that thin membrane is stretched. And the level of stretchiness, how tight it is, determines the sound signature, helps determine the sound signature. That's not the only thing, but it's a very important thing. That's basically why audiophiles and companies say you need to burn in the drivers. Right? That's AudioQuest said 150 hours before you can use the Nighthawk. Before you can judge the Nighthawks. You need to stretch the diaphragm, essentially. You need to let it bend and all that stuff so that it can reach its full potential. But if a diaphragm is really, really tight, it is stretched to almost solidness, then no matter how much burn-in time you give it, it's never really going to produce a natural sound. Because then the company, what has it done? It said, this is how the sound signature is going to be. But the frequencies don't work that way. The trick is, and it's not just for Beyerdynamic, but the trick is to find a membrane material, stretch it in the right proportion so that it properly addresses all the frequencies, the whole entire range. The higher frequencies may require less reverberation, Mid frequencies may require a little bit more reverberation. Lower frequencies require the most reverberation, but that's a generality. That's not necessarily true all the time. It depends how the song was mastered, what instruments were being used, the emphasis on a particular instrument. There's a lot that goes into it. How much power you give to the headphones, right? How the volume you give to the headphones, the type of DAC and amp that you use, a lot that goes into it. So it's very difficult to make a pair of headphones that addresses all these other variables. I understand that. I'm not blaming Beyerdynamic for that. I'm blaming Beyerdynamic for creating manipulating a dynamic driver to the extent that they did. They stretched the membrane so tight so that they purposefully break up the vibrations. They suppress, break up vibrations. That's what they say. That's not natural. The membranes inside your ear canal, it's not stretched like this. Now, I don't know how the human body works, but I doubt it works like this. And if it doesn't work like this, then this sounds unnatural, right? We hear reverberations. When we're sitting in a concert hall, we feel the reverberation. We are just blown away by it. We find it pleasurable. When we're sitting in a theater and we're watching a movie and there's something going on and there's a rumble and then we feel it in our chest, and we find that fun. We find that we make it feel as if, or we are felt as if that's actually happening. When there's a car chase scene and when there's a punch to another character in a movie, and there's that sound by the Foley boy, Foley guy, Foley woman, whatever is the appropriate term, we can feel it. There's a bit of reverberation throughout the room because the sound carries, and we feel like, yeah, that actually happened. I can feel that impact. I can feel that punch because it's natural to us. That's how we think. But if Beyerdynamic is not even remotely allowing it, that is not natural to us. Natural to what, guys? Natural to what you think is natural, or natural to how people listen? There's a big difference between the two. How people listen varies, but you can set limits because we all listen in generally the same way. Beyerdynamic simply doesn't agree with it. Beyerdynamic has its own version of what natural is. This is not particularly natural. Maximum comfort. We've already talked about comfort. I'm not going to waste any time. These are not comfortable. Closed back design. Another drink of coffee, please. Thank you. Closed back design. The problem is, when you take a pair of drivers from an open back design and you put them in another pair of headphones and you slap a closed back onto it, you've done a disservice to the driver and to the customer. Do you want to know why? Because when you close off a driver that was originally intended and works really well for an open back, or even a semi-open back, or even a mostly open back, and then you close the back, you are adding distortion. You are purposefully twisting the sound. Does that make sense? The 1990s, I adore. They're fantastic headphones. Beyerdynamic did a fantastic job with the 1990s. I haven't done a review on them, but I'll tell you this, they're very, very good headphones. Still not worth $600, but they are much, much better than the 1770s. Same driver. And as far as I could tell between the two web pages, when I went back and forth repeatedly and tried to figure out, well, what's going on here? Is there a different driver? I can't tell that there's a different driver. There's nothing obvious that jumps out to me. Maybe I missed it, but I don't see it. And there's nothing I've read online or seen on YouTube that would make me think that, yeah, the Beyerdynamic changed the driver for the 1770s. That's not information that I have. So I have to conclude, by the lack of information, that the 1770s have the same driver. The same driver that's in a mostly open back headphone, in a closed back headphone, without tweaking it, without making sure that the driver can actually reproduce appropriate sound in a closed back design. Do you see the problem? Do you see the issues with that? The issue is drivers that are designed and work well with open backs don't work well with closed back. That is not how things happen. When you limit the amount of space and room and air that a driver has, all of a sudden you limit it, the driver's not going to function the same way that it did before with an open back. That's not new. That's not rocket science. That's just a fact. You know that. You people know that. But apparently Beyerdynamic doesn't care. They thought they were so confident in their driver that they just slapped the back on. Is that what we're to believe? 2 sound settings. 2 pairs of ear pads are included as standard in order to achieve the ideal sound characteristic, depending on the application in question. Yeah, but look, I did a whole video on the pad change thing. I'm not going to go into it anymore. There is a sound change, indeed, when you switch the pads. But it takes you so long to switch the pads, and the pads are so uncomfortable that you're not going to go back and forth. You're not going to do it. And so if you want 2 different sound signatures, that is generally true, but that's not unique. There's nothing here that is unique about this. I showed you on my video what seemed to be the uniqueness behind those pads. One of the pads has 4 holes in it on the back. Otherwise, basically the same. It's different material, velour versus pleather, and velour versus velour, whatever they're doing, and including in the package now. But that's it. But you can get that aftermarket. You can get it from Dakota, you can get it from Brainwaves, you can get it from a no-name third party on eBay. This is not unique to the headphones. This is not a feature inside the headphone. This is a feature that they include outside the headphone that you can get anywhere from anybody for any pair of headphones. You can say that your headphones have 10 sound settings because you have 10 pairs of different ear pads. So this is not a selling point. This is a marketing nonsense that when you just take a step back, even just 1 step or a half a step back, you realize this is BS. This is not true. This is not about the headphone. This is about an ear pad that you can get for any pair of headphones. 2 sound settings. No, there's not a switch on this thing to make it 2 sound settings. You're saying, go through the effort of changing pads. Well, if I'm going to go through the effort of changing pads, I'm going to go through the effort of buying better pads, more comfortable pads, and then I'll change them. And then I'll be happy. I don't want to use the terrible pads that come included with the 1770s. 2 sound settings. Not true. You can say that for any pair of headphones as long as you have more than 1 set of ear pads for them. Marketing nonsense. Made in Germany. Yeah. I don't mean to be. I don't say yeah in order to insult the Germans. I just say yeah. I guess yeah, okay. So here we are, product comparison. Finally here, and I'm looking at the 1770s and the 1990s. I don't see any difference, other than open and closed. Do you? I don't see any difference. The 1990, they say, is extremely well balanced sound, excellent resolution and spaciousness. I would generally agree. 1770, they say, is precise sound, very high resolution, and excellent spaciousness. I don't know what that means. No, that's not true. 770, prominent bass, less spatial, transparent, detailed. I don't have the 770s. I should probably get them because a lot of people say good things about the 770s, but fine. It doesn't tell you if there's any difference amongst the drivers. I don't know. When you go down to the technical data to me seemed exactly the same to the technical data for the 1990s. I don't know. I don't know anymore. What is my conclusion? After 25 minutes of just ranting, these are not good headphones. Don't buy them. These things are not worth $600. They're not worth $600 because most people don't have the ability to test headphones, use headphones with many different amplifiers and DACs. I happen to be lucky enough to do that. I've been lucky enough to have, for testing, some very, very expensive amplifiers. I have amplifiers that are relatively affordable that people may not find, other people may not find affordable, or other people might say, I'm not interested in that. Here are all the amplifiers I have tested the 1770s with. The JDS Labs Element, the Magni 3, the Dark Voice, the Tor Audio David, the Audio GD NFB 1 amp, balanced, the Deckard, Quad PA1, Woo Audio Fireflies, 2nd gen, Woo Audio portable amplifier, the Q5 from FIO, and the Little Bear portable tube amp. I've also tried it with the Monolith Liquid Spark, and I think that's it. I've tried it with a lot. I've tried it with a lot of amplifiers and DACs, and I'm holding my head in my hands, and I can't take this anymore. I can't find the right combination, but that's the problem. You shouldn't have to go out and have to find the right combination. Now, it's one thing for a manufacturer to create an amplifier with a DAC specifically for their headphones. Manufacturers do it every once in a while. Odyssey did it for a little bit. Hi-Fi Man continues to do it. Sennheiser does it. Beyerdynamic does do it. They have, I think, an A2 amplifier. It's a very small amplifier. It's not particularly powerful. There are some other companies that do it. Arguably, you could say that AudioQuest does it because they have their headphones and they also have a USB stick that is a DAC. Okay, so perhaps that is also true. But unless you're out there to just buy what's been created by the manufacturer, and that's extra cost that you're paying for the manufacturer, if you already have a DAC amp, or you're thinking about getting a different DAC amp, maybe you want tubes, maybe you want a little bit more power, maybe you want more portability than anything else. It's not fair to you to have to find the perfect amplifier and DAC to go with this pair of headphones, to go with any pair of headphones. Otherwise, you're not going to get the right sound. Or, in the alternative, you have to find the right pair of DAC amp so that you can tweak the sound yourself on this pair of headphones so that it actually becomes listenable. It becomes pleasurable. You like it. Then that means that the 1770 Pros were not properly designed. That it was just phoned in. We'll take the drivers from the 1990s, we'll put them in the 1770s, we'll close the back, done. We'll slap $600 on it. Everybody will buy it. I mean, isn't it obvious that why people don't like these headphones? If you go on eBay, now online on YouTube, there are people who sing praises for this pair of headphones. Joshua Velour, for example, said that these headphones are German-based kings. I completely disagree. Zeus Pantera said things about the 1770s that are relatively consistent with what I said, but he also gave these headphones a passable review. I am not that favorable, obviously. There are online commentators that go in between. They say it's a great pair of headphones, not that great. The 1990s are better. These are fantastic. Whatever. But if you go on eBay and you search for these, you won't find a whole lot of listing for 1770s being sold at $600. You'll see a lot of listings of these headphones being sold at around $350, $330. $400. Why? Because people want to get rid of these things. I want to get rid of mine. I can't stand it. It is an affront to my ears. It is an affront to my wallet. And it is a misleading, poorly designed, poorly implemented, half-baked, half-assed headphone. It's wrong. There's so many things I could nitpick about this pair of headphones. Things that don't probably affect most people. But I'm going to say it anyway, because this is my conclusion. I don't like the fact, for example, that they have a mini XLR, which is a fairly large connection, by the way, compared to, say, I don't know, a 3.5 millimeter or a 2.5 millimeter. A mini XLR on only one side. You know, Beyerdynamic, this is your audacity. This is your gumption, your gall to think that people everywhere are going to agree with you. Having the damn XLR connection on the left ear cup was a stupid idea. It was stupid to have a mini XLR on this pair of headphones, but fine, Tesla technology, we need it, fine, great. You know what you should have done? You should have had it on both sides. Because one, it's really, really annoying to have the cord just hanging off and flopping on one side of my head. And two, if my DAC is on the other side, on the opposite side, now I'm stretching the cord and it's going either behind me or in front of me, and I have other stuff going on. It just gets to be a mess. Does it throw off the weight? Nah, I wouldn't say that. I mean, once it's on your head, it's on your head. It's like throwing off the weight. But it's just irritating. Why couldn't you drill another hole and just make two sockets and either give us an option to plug it into one or the other, or make a dual, like every other headphone, most other headphones, right? Odyssey's headphones use mini XLR type. The Ascendi Ava use, I think, a 2.5 millimeter. Monoprice uses 2.5 millimeter. Sony uses 2.5 millimeter or 3.5 millimeter, one of the two. The one more triple drivers that cost $175, brand new, have much better bass reproduction. They use 2.5 millimeter dual. Audio Quest has dual. Let's see, every other pair of headphones that I have has dual, other than perhaps the SHP 9500 and the Fidelio X2. Even the Monoprice Retros have a dual. I mean, it's attached, but they have a dual. How does that make sense? Why did you make this decision, Beyerdynamic? Why would you do something like that? Because we thought that this was the right way to do it, and this is how we did it. Customer comfort, customer convenience be damned. We don't care. What else can we nitpick about? Well, how about the headband? I talked about the headband at length. How a third of the padding is missing because they wanted to make a little trench. For no other reason than because we wanted to make a little trench. Or how about the fact that putting on the ear cups or the ear pads is a practice of patience, that you have to spend a ton of time trying to get it right into that tiny little notch, and then turn the ear pad and make sure you put consistent pressure or it'll pop out. Why do that? I did a pad change with the Taconi, and all you have to do is stretch them over the lip and you're done. Why not just do it that way? Why did you have to do it? It's precision. For precision's sake. And that's why. Not because it actually serves any specific goal, but because we're German and we like precision, and this is precision. Well, if you're going to give people options of 2 sound signatures, 2 sound options, you should probably make it easier for people to go back and forth, don't you think? Because obviously it's not a switch, because it's not built into the headphone, and you're lying. It's not 2 sound options. It's just 2 different pads. Make it easier to put the pads on. Why is that important? It enhances user experience. It's more comfortable that way. It's better for the user so that they can hot swap the ear pads faster. Don't you think the user is important? Don't you think the customer is important? Don't you think that you should think more about the customer than about yourself for a change, Beyerdynamic? These are some of the issues that persist even in the 1990s. But the problem is I don't have such an issue with the 1990s because they still sound good. I can look past this stuff. But when the sound is terrible and the headphones themselves are not comfortable, and all this other nitpicky little things come up, it just piles on after a while. And it feels like I'm just kicking a man that's already down. And I don't want to do that to a man. I want to do that to these headphones. I'm going to continue to kick these headphones. I'm going to continue to curb stomp these headphones. They're awful. Don't buy them. I cannot recommend these headphones to anyone. Nobody should be buying these headphones. Nobody. Well, there are much better options out there, a plethora of better options. I've had people on my channel, first-time viewers, subscribers, who have asked many times, what's an alternative to this headphone? If you don't like this one, what's an alternative? Not the 177X from Mastrop. That's still my position. You still have a few days before their big sale goes off, and you have to buy the X's at, what was it, $450, something like that? But right now, you can get it for $380. Don't buy it. You know what? Don't buy it. I don't think the 1770s are any good. And the small tweaks that Mastrop may have made, you don't know what they are. Nobody's telling you. You're going to put down $380 for that? Now try selling those pair of headphones later, when the reviews actually do come out. And people start to see that, yeah, maybe it's a little better, but is it $380 worth? Is it $450 worth? You're going to take a loss. But more than that, you're going to have to wait until the end of the year to get those headphones. And what happens if in the interim, somehow, magically, somebody is able to compare the 1770s with the Mastrop X's, the 177X's? And it turns out that there's either, one, no significant difference, or two, that the X's really don't sound all that much better. They may sound worse in certain respects. Then what do? Do you get your money back from Mastrop? I mean, it's a question. I don't know. I've used Mastrop before, and when I've used Mastrop, the product has been available, and I've gotten it, and I've been able to just use it, and I know that's a good product. But what happens in this case when you're pre-ordering it, right? Mastrop DT177X. Go! DT177X, go! 412 sold. Oh, a few more people purchased it since last time. What happens to this? I don't know. A week left before this phenomenal sale goes away. I mean, are the pads thicker on this? I mean, the way the product is shot, it may look thicker. It's velour. I don't know if it's thicker. It is. You know what? It may actually be thicker pads. It may actually be thicker pads because they give you these pleather pads and they seem thicker, and the velour pads that are actually on the headphones, they look slightly thicker. They might actually be better pads. Well, that's good, but the trench is still there in the headband, and I'm sure the pad placement, the pad placement procedure is exactly the same, and the thickness of the pads is not significant. I mean, in comparison to the Taconi, these are not significantly thicker pads. If they are thicker pads, I'm just going off of what I see on the pictures. So the 177Xs, they're not an alternative for the reasons I've already stated. You can get the Philips Fidelio X2s. They give a fairly neutral sound. They're very, very comfortable. They're easy to drive. You can get the Denon D5200. Very good, nearly natural sound. Good build quality. Very, very comfortable. You can get an Auto-Z LCD2. You can get that used for about $500, $600. LCD2 closed. Very, very good headphones. The review is ongoing. Sendy Ava's phenomenal headphones. Get it for $600, $500 or $600, something like that. You can get, your pick of ZMF headphones, which are much more expensive, but hand-built, and they're all different. And they have very unique sound signatures. You want something fun? Get the Nighthawks, or the Night Owls, or the M1060s, or the M1060Cs. You want something that's warm and comforting? Get the Mastered and Dynamic what is it, 40, 50, whatever it is. It's the wired version. You want something with a whole lot of bass? You want real bass kings at a good price? Get the one more triple drivers. You want something that's just amazing all across the frequencies, and you don't care about price? You can get the Fostex TH900 Mark II. You want something that's incredibly comfortable and gives you a gooey feeling inside, and it's something unique. You don't care about price? How about the Sony MDR Z1s? You want the epitome of design and manufacturing? How about the Mese Empyrean? Or the Focal Elex? Or how about the Focal Stellia? Or how about the Mr. Speaker Ether C Flows? Or how about the Hi-Fi Man HE1000? Or even the HE4XX, I think it is, on Massdrop. I could go down the line. There's so many better headphones. Almost every other headphone I've listened to is better than the DT1770s. The Sennheiser HD600, 650 to be more precise. The HD650 is a much better pair of headphones than the 1770s. The 6XX, which is the same thing as the 650, you can get on Massdrop, you can get on eBay for approximately $300, $350, and they're much better than the 1770s. No doubt in my mind. I listen to them all the time. Or if you wanted to get the epitome of the Sennheiser 600 line, you can get the 660S, which is slightly more than the 650 at this point. Depending on where you buy it, you can get it for either $75 more, or you can get it for about $100 more, I think. $100, $150 more. And there are driver tweaks, and there are indeed improvements between the two. Comfort is still there. You want a close back design? How about the HD 569? It's an older generation, but you can get it for about $100 now, brand new on Amazon. And they sound good. The bass is a little loose, but they sound really good. They sound better than the 1770s in some respects. But you know what? For $100, yeah, no problem. I can take those for $100 for a while if I absolutely need a pair of headphones and save up money and get a pair of headphones that actually deserve to be on my head, in my collection, part of my studio, whatever. The 1770s are not those. The 1770Xs, I'm not convinced they are. Maybe you are. Maybe you are in the market to buy the Xs because you really want to buy the Xs. That's your call. You've justified it to yourself. Hopefully, you know exactly why you want to buy it. Spend $308, wait until the end of the year. Great. If that's what you want to do, I hope that you are very happy with it, and I hope I'm wrong, and you enjoy those headphones when you eventually get them. But in my opinion, the 1770 Pros should not be purchased by any individual. It should not be purchased by professionals because of all the issues I've already talked about. It should not be purchased by audiophiles because, well, you know what? Maybe it should be purchased by audiophiles because there are some audiophiles that love working with difficult headphones. This is a difficult headphone to work with because, pad change, drivers are real funky, the issue with the cord, the fact that you gotta find the right DAC amp. If you're an audiophile, you probably have some DAC amps, and you might enjoy going through that process. So maybe for audiophiles, maybe for somebody who really likes a challenge. It's like a girlfriend that says, "I like to have a boyfriend that I can work on." Okay, great. This will be your boyfriend that you can work on. This will be your girlfriend that you can work. Well, I don't know if guys really want to work on girlfriends. This will be your boyfriend you really want to work on. You want to improve. He's a diamond in the rough. I wouldn't say the 1770s are a diamond in the rough. I think they're just the rough. There's not much of a diamond in there. There's that Superman movie with Richard Pryor, and at the end of that movie, I forget which one it is. Maybe Superman 3 or 4 or something like that. And they go to a coal mine, and near the end of the movie, Superman wants to give Lois Lane a diamond ring, so he picks up a piece of coal and he crushes it in his hand, and you see it and see him crushing it and turns it to powder, and he opens the hand and all of a sudden there's a diamond in there. That's not reality. Number one, I mean, it's a movie obviously, but number two, that's not this pair of headphones. I could crush these pair of headphones, and I'd be happy crushing these pair of headphones if I couldn't have to pay for them. But these are not a diamond in the rough. So not for professionals, not really for audiophiles unless you want a difficult project, and definitely not for the normal person. Because a normal person No normal person's going to say, I want to spend another $50 on pads. I want to spend another $300, $400, $1,800 on a DAC amp so that I can listen to these headphones. I want to find the right one. Nobody's going to do that. If you happen to have the right DAC amp already in your collection or on your desk, that's the amp that you have and it works great with the 1770, fantastic. But you're still going to have to spend more money on a pad change. And you're still going to have to deal with all the other issues with this pair of headphones. Is it worth it to you to do that? It's your call. It's not worth it to me. I don't recommend these headphones. I'm glad I've sold them. I'm glad that they're going away. I'm glad, and I'm hoping that this person doesn't try to return these headphones and doesn't want to return these headphones. I hope the person is very happy with them. I hate them. And I am happy, I'm glad that I did this review process because somebody needed to. Somebody needed to say that these headphones suck. Somebody needed to go through the entire process of reviewing these headphones. And even though it hasn't been a full 4 weeks, I've sold these headphones. My conclusion is not going to change. The 1770s are plain. Plain in the sense that they don't have anything else to give. I'm giving them plenty of opportunities and chances. They're not getting any better. So, conclusion. The 1770s are not worth $600 that are charged by the manufacturer. They are not worth $500 if you find them on eBay or Amazon. They are not worth $400 if you find them somewhere. They're not worth $380 on mass dropped 17.7Xs. These headphones, I would not pay more than $300 brand new. Brand new, unopened box. And I wouldn't pay $300 for these headphones because I'm selling them. I would not pay money for these headphones when there are so many better options out there at either lower price or slightly higher price, like the Sentievas. This pair of headphones, failure. No matter how much Beyerdynamic pushes the marketing, no matter how many times other people say, oh, but this is good about the headphone. Oh, that's good about the headphone. In totality, these headphones are not good. In comparison to other headphones, these headphones are not good. Don't buy them. If you bought them and you like them, good, great for you. I hope you enjoy them. But if you bought them and you're not particularly happy with them, don't worry, it's not your headphone. It's just the headphone. It's the whole line of 1770s. It's every 1770 that's ever out there. It's not you. You're not crazy. Your headphones are bad headphones. The headphones that you purchased, they designed by Beyerdynamic are bad headphones. Sell them. Get something better. All right, that's the end of the 1770 saga. I am so glad to be finished with it. Now I can fully concentrate on the Odyssey LCD 2 Close, which are, hey, so much better, and I can be back to being happy and jolly. And then, so many other things to do, so many other reviews, I'm going to start getting into describing some editing programs that I've been using, and I'm eager to learn the new music app that I have and start to use not Spotify. I like Spotify, but not Spotify, but using other high-end stuff. And it's going to be great because the 1770s are out of my life. Already the day is brighter. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you so much for staying with me for an hour, if you have. If you haven't, well, then you don't even know. Thank you very much. Until the next episode, everyone have a wonderful day. Have a good morning.